Hey guys, it's Johnny Odell, aka J2O, and if you've seen from the title, you know this is going to be a different kind of video. We're not doing a React compilation this time. This time, Warner Brothers and the fine folks at Govee decided to sponsor this video. They want me to do a review of Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, along with some Govee lights. For those of you who don't know, Govee is the best global smart home brand that has been absolutely killing the game since 2017. They specialize in eye-popping smart home technology like lights, appliances, decor, and so much more. And you guys know me, I love superhero movies and shows. So when Govee said, hey, we are partnering with Aquaman 2 The Lost Kingdom, do you want to do something with us? I said, duh, of course I would. Not only did I get some amazing lights, but the wonderful people at Govee sent me to the Aquaman 2 premiere to see it for myself. By the time I got home, I was ready to sit back, turn on the TV, and get totally immersed into Atlantis by trying Govee's 3 Aquaman-themed lights. What are the 3 themes, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. They're Atlantis, Aquaman, and Black Manta. And thanks to their easy-to-use app, you can switch between all sorts of themes. You can even have it sync up to the shows and movies you're watching. I mean, does it get any better? Some of you guys might have seen in my community tab, I actually got to go to the premiere, or a sort of premiere. It was just for influencers. For some reason, Warner Brothers thinks I'm an influencer. I was among some heavyweights. We had Soups, Straw Hat Goofy, Brandon Davis. So many people were there, and I kind of felt like a fraud, but you know, my fiance was just like, you just have to embrace it, you know? So I did. I made the most of it. So what happened is they invited me to the Grove, and there was this sort of rooftop restaurant that I went to. Got to kind of bump elbows with some people, try out some free drinks, free food, and then out of nowhere, Jason Momoa showed up. I was shocked. I was like, wow, he actually came. He was not in a tuxedo or anything. This is one of the only premieres they're doing. And he was just kind of in casual clothes, saying hi to people. And some people were taking selfies. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to get a selfie. He is just being completely mobbed right now. But eventually, he made his way to the back where people were just lining up, getting pictures with him. And I was like, I got to do this. So I did. I went up there and I got a picture with him. It was amazing. I just can't believe it. He was the nicest guy. I made him laugh. I made a joke. It was great. It was super memorable. Immediately sent it to all my friends. They were super psyched for me. So that was awesome. So shout out to Warner Brothers and Govee for making that possible. All right, now on to the movie. Right afterwards, we were all ushered into the AMC at the Grove where we watched Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. Before the movie started, James Wan and Jason Momoa came out and said a few words. They were actually pretty emotional. You know, this is not just the end of Aquaman as we know it in this iteration, but it's also the end of the DCEU. This is something they've been working on for years and years, almost a decade of their lives, and it's now coming to an end in this sort of awkward, clunky way. DC is about to get rebooted, obviously, by James Gunn. So instead of ending on a big, like, endgame note, the DCEU is ending almost on, like, an Iron Man 2 or an Ant-Man 2 or something, you know, something where it's just, like, a singular story. So you could tell it really affected them. And you're like, okay, so we're in for an interesting ride here. So how was the movie? Like I said before, the movie was a little bit clunky. Now, James Wan and Jason Momoa actually helped write the treatment for this. They're very passionate about this. Jason Momoa especially wanted to tell this story. And what the story is, as James Wan describes it, is kind of a Tango and Cash. Last one, it was all about Aquaman discovering himself and eventually beating out his brother, King Orm, to become the king of Atlantis. In this one, the two are forced to work together in a mostly comedic way. Patrick Wilson plays a pretty good straight man in this. I wish he was a little bit more comedic. He's kind of a pain in the ass most of the time.
Good job, little brother. High five. Do not call me brother.
Basically, what the story is we have the exact same character. Yaya is back as Black Manta. He's still mad that Aquaman killed his father and kind of just left him to die in that sub. So now he is back and more powerful than ever. That's because he found a black trident. This is basically this mega weapon from the Lost Kingdom that when you touch it, kind of like the ring from Lord of the Rings, you just get kind of transported. You start seeing Sauron, and they quite literally have a Sauron-like villain in this. He's not really physically there, he's spiritually there. He talks to him through the trident. Anyone who touches it sees him, and he just looks like Sauron. I call him Fish Sauron. Fish Sauron. Fish Sauron, his number one goal is to get resurrected and then to come and destroy all the other kingdoms of the sea. And so Black Manta is wanting to do that. And Aquaman is not keen on letting that happen. So it's basically a race. Black Manta and his giant crew, including Randall Park, who is actually a really great positive note in this movie. He has a lot of great comedic moments. But they're basically just trying to get back to the Lost Kingdom to reunite this Black Trident with Fisharon. Just like the first one, it is extremely CGI heavy. There are some nice human moments that are outside of the sea, some quite literal fish out of water moments where Aquaman is reckoning with fatherhood. He gets peed on, he's tired, he has to do all the normal fatherly duties. And that's also almost the only time we see Mira, his wife, played by Amber Heard. Now, obviously, the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial affected a lot of this movie. It was reported that her role was significantly cut, and you can tell, really, she is just sidelined to being his kind of wife that is just like, hey, remember, you're the king of Atlantis. Be a better king. Or she's folding laundry. Honestly, she didn't really serve much of a purpose in this movie. And I really, if you don't like Amber Heard and you feel uncomfortable putting her in a big chunkier movie, then just recast her. It was kind of distracting that she was barely in it. Speaking of barely in it, Nicole Kidman. I think I saw more of her in the AMC ad that played before than I actually saw of her in the movie. She's just kind of there sometimes. I think she might have like one or two lines, nothing memorable. So I would have rather seen more Nicole Kidman and more Mira, the character. Another thing with this movie is that it was penned by, let me get this right, Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, who wrote the Conjuring films, Orphan, along with a lot of Walking Dead episodes. I was like, where's that name sound familiar? He's written a lot of Walking Dead episodes, including Here's Negan, which I think is one of the best Walking Dead episodes to date. And although he's a great writer, it just shows that they kind of got someone who's really good at sort of the drama and this fantasy kind of thing, but maybe not someone who is as comedic. I think the lines could have been a lot funnier. They're trying to kind of go for that Marvel humor and not the cringy one, but like the legit one that you might see in Guardians of the Galaxy, but just didn't fit. You just kind of wish that, I hate to say it, that James Gunn maybe had, helped them rewrite a little bit of it. For those of you who are fans of Pitch Meeting, I could basically hear the Pitch Meeting being wrote as I watched the movie. There's a lot of super easy, barely an inconvenience moments, especially at the end. I hate when they build something up and then it's resolved immediately. It just drives me crazy.
Actually, it's going to be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really?
I will say the directing was fantastic. James Wan is completely in his bag, as always. It looked really good for the most part. There was some, sort of spotty CGI moments, but I had a lot of fun watching it. But the story is just, it's okay. It's a little forgettable, and it's just such a clunky way to end the DCEU. I know that none of this was planned and it was kind of just rushed and they just want to forget about this chapter of DC. But to all the fans who really cared and spent all their money, seeing these movies, buying these movies, engaging with it, I would have rather them tried to, if there were some reshoots, I don't know, maybe get some of the old heroes back. Get Wonder Woman, get Superman, Batman, the Flash you can kind of leave out. But any of those guys, like Cyborg, bring them back maybe just for like an end credit scene or something, as some kind of like, okay, we're wrapping the story up. Instead, it's like if the MCU just ended on Iron Man 2, you'd be like, okay, that was weird. So if I were to rate this movie on my Letterboxd, I would give it 2.5 stars out of 5. There's a lot of fun moments. It's shot well. It's a great popcorn flick. Jason Momoa is clearly having a lot of fun. James Wan put his all into it, but story-wise, it does get a little clunky. It's a little forgettable, and I just wish we had a little bit more of a spectacular end to the DCEU, but we don't. This is the last one. It's over, and now we have to wait till 2025 for Superman Legacy, which I'm excited for, and I hope Warner Brothers does invite me back to future Warner Brothers or DC events, because I did have a great time. It was great meeting Jason Momoa, and I just wish the DCEU had just ended on a better note. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit the link in my description to get your own Govee lights. They're absolutely spectacular. They transform your room into a true magical viewing experience. So make sure you go and do that. And I will be back with another compilation very soon. I'll have Invincible, and then I also have a surprise video for you for the end of the year. Please make sure you guys subscribe to this channel, like this video, and subscribe to my Patreon, patreon.com/Johnny Odell. It would mean a lot to me. Thanks again to Warner Brothers and Govee, and happy holidays. See you guys.